Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today I'm going to talk about rivers. This is not a geography lesson, trust me. There's a point to this. I was on a walk at the weekend and we got blown nearly off the side of a mountain. We went to walk from a place called Bolton Abbey in the Yorkshire Dales up to a place called Simon's Seat. We didn't make it to Simon's Seat because we were advised that was a very bad idea because the wind was so brutal that we probably would have been blown off the side of the mountain, and we had a small child with us, so we decided not to bother. Anyway, I was noticing how there, as you're walking up a hill like that, it was probably not really a mountain, it's probably a hill. There's all these little streams flowing down the side of the hill or the mountain. I'm going to call it a mountain. My thighs said it was a mountain, so we'll go with that. And there's all these streams flowing down, and I imagine if you could take away there was a lot of heather on this particular mountain, that if you could take the heather away, you would be able to see these channels flowing down the side of the mountain. The water's got this urge, hasn't it, to get to, it's got this urge to get to the river. That's what it wants to do. It wants to go downhill. It has no choice because of gravity, and it wants to get down to the river. So, and I guess what that made me think about is, because I'm really noticing at the moment some things around habitual thinking and what patterns we've got that are probably getting in our way or disconnecting us from the people around us in some way and not particularly helpful, is that those habitual thoughts are really just like those ridges. After years and years of flowing in the same place, that water has created a ridge in the land. And so now when it rains, the water really has no choice but to go down that ridge. It's not like the water can suddenly go, right, I'm going to go somewhere else now and flow somewhere else. And your thoughts are very, very similar to that. Your thoughts are so similar to that, because right from when you popped into this world, you've been learning things about the world, and very, very easily in early life, those ridges are formed. I guess you might call them neural pathways if we're being all sciencey, and we're talking neuroscience. But they flow, they grow, and they grow. They kind of embed in us as we go through life, and it starts from something really small. Let's take one example, that a child who is told they are stupid, that forms a bit of a ridge, particularly if it's done in anger. And then when that child is in school, they notice that one day they can't do something that it appears the other children can do. So that ridge just gets a little bit more embedded. And then at some point they come across a boss who keeps giving them tasks and not telling them how to do them properly. And then again, they think, oh yeah, I am stupid, look, because I can't do this either. And that's how we then get into this habitual thought pattern that stays with us, for some people through their entire adult life. And it isn't just the thoughts about us, although I think they are probably the most prominent because they're the ones that pop up, but it's our thoughts about the world. So, it might be our thoughts about money. I know somebody, and the minute you suggest, shall we do something, this person questions whether the money's there. That's their first thing to say. They talk about the money and it's just knowing that that's not deliberate, that's not something that somebody's choosing to do. It is because there is a ridge there. There is a thought flow situation that is going on, and that can pass. So the ridges in the sound of the mountain might look pretty permanent. They're kind of probably going to stay there, mainly because nobody's going to bother with them. And it's the same with our habitual thinking. Is if we just leave it, yeah, it's probably just going to continue. We're going to keep having those same thoughts, and we might occasionally go, "Oh, I shouldn't think like that." But then what we tend to do is beat ourselves up, don't we, and not feel good about ourselves because we think we should be able to manage our thinking better. Please don't get caught in that trap. It is not your job to manage your thinking. Where we can bring some lightness to this is just in awareness, really. In awareness of where our thinking goes. And I've got a recent example of this recently about money again. I can't believe there's another one about money, but recently my fiance and I were just chatting about wanting to save a bit of money. We want to do a bit of work on the motorhome, so we want to kind of stop spending quite so much, save a little bit. And had a couple of instances where a habitual thought came in, and it didn't end up becoming a behaviour about money. So two places, or a few places actually, where I just chose not to spend money on something I didn't need to spend money on. One of them was a decision not to go buy food from Marks and Spencer's when I had a motorhome full of food on the car park. And the second one was deciding to come home and work rather than going to sit in a coffee shop, which would have involved me buying a couple of drinks while I was there. And realising I've got a house here that's really nice to work in, and I work perfectly well in the house. I don't need a change of scenery. That's another thought that I thought and decided to dismiss. So there's nothing to do here. This is never about you trying to fix your thinking. That is not what this conversation is about, or change it, or have less of it, or anything else. It is really about bringing some awareness to that, just bringing some awareness to where we've got the same thinking coming up again and again, and to realize above everything that it is not true. Just because it pops up in your head on a regular basis does not mean that it is true. And I think that is revelatory to a lot of people, because we do tend to believe our thinking, don't we? We do tend to think it's true and real, and that we must act upon it, therefore. But most of what appears in your head isn't true. It's just coming from one of those ridges inside your mind that has been created mostly from other people's thinking about life and about you and about everything else. So we can bring awareness, and we can bring curiosity. Oh, there's that thought again. It's just interesting to be interested in it, to be curious about it, to have awareness, to just almost be watching it going on. That this is where we can play. That's the space we can play in. It is all of that, without the judgment. The judgment is not helpful, has never been. And it's a lie if anybody tells you that to go looking at your thoughts, judge them as good or bad, and then do something about them. That does not work fundamentally, because it doesn't fit with how we actually do work as humans. So just to know that that's what's going on, that there's some ridges, they've been there a while. But it is really interesting because it is like magic. When you start to notice the ridges, they start to disappear. I guess it's like if somebody went, oh, we can't really have that water flowing down the side of the mountain there, it's causing a problem. They would do something about it. They would prevent the water from doing that, stop it flowing that way. And really, with awareness, that's what happens. Much less painful than all that trying to change your thinking. I hope you found that helpful. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.